Hello everyone and welcome to another casual review. Today I'm talking about Pokemon Shining Pearl, and for those of you who have been following the channel, you'll know that I've been doing a Mega Man marathon. I just needed a little bit of a palate cleanser from Mega Man. After playing through Mega Man 4, I was feeling a bit burnt out on the series, and that's not fair to Mega Man 5 to hop right in already not looking forward to it, so I picked up my copy of Pokemon Shining Pearl. I have played through this 4th generation of Pokemon games, but more recently than some other people may have. At the time when the Pokemon DS games came out, I was taking a little bit of a Pokemon sabbatical. I was in junior high school, and I was moving on to games on the Xbox 360, and Pokemon games were a little bit beneath me. Obviously, I came back to the Pokemon series in full swing since then, and I had played through Pokemon Diamond within maybe like the last 5 years, so it's fresh-ish in my memory. This game is more of a remaster than a remake. Think of something like the Pokemon Let's Go series, where they kind of built the game from the ground up but still kept the core source material. This game is more like a one-for-one remaster of the Pokemon 4th generation games with just an updated graphical look, and obviously some more modern quality of life features that are to be expected in more modern Pokemon games. Now, as far as the art direction that they went in this game, it is interesting, I guess is the nice word to put it. The humans kind of look like proportional Funko Pop characters, some bobbleheads, where they just have like these huge heads and teeny tiny little bodies. And I understand that that's kind of the art direction that the older Pokemon games looked, but that's because those games, as far as like the top-down view, it was an older game, so you only had a set amount of pixels to use, and so obviously you wanted to see some sort of facial expressions in those older games. But I don't know, it's like they really wanted to stick exactly to the layout of the original source material, and just proportionally it looks really weird with these graphics. Even the walking animations, the characters kind of look like penguins because they waddle back and forth when they're walking. It's just hard to take any of the humans seriously in this game, and it's weird that they went in this direction as well, because when you're in the middle of a battle, the humans are proportionally correct. They look normal, so it's like they made the character models already, but they just wanted to stick true to like the exact proportions of the overworld in the original 4th generation Pokemon games. Whenever you go into something like a forest or a cave, the edges just have this weird blurry Vaseline look to add some sort of like depth of field effects, and I think they pulled this off a lot better in the Link's Awakening remaster. Now, one compliment I will say about this game, however, is the water looks absolutely amazing, just super reflective and refractive, and it's like, wow, I don't know if water is just easier to make, but maybe you could have put this level of detail in the rest of the game. And this isn't even a real complaint, but the floors in this game are like the cleanest, shiniest floors I have ever seen. So reflective, and this especially came to my mind when I went to this snowy city that's just covered in snow. It's basically like the North Pole, and then you go into the Pokemon Center, and like obviously they're not going to add this level of detail in a Pokemon game, but like the floor in this snow village would be absolutely filthy. Trust me, I know. But no, it's just super shiny clean, just like the rest of the buildings. I can see my perfect reflection walking on that floor. No tracked in snow at all. They must just be really on top of buffing and cleaning the floors whenever anyone walks in. But enough of the aesthetic, let's talk about the plot to this game. Now, if you have played any of the previous Pokemon games, you know that there isn't much of a plot to be had. Basically, let me guess, there's a big bad gang similar to something like the Team Rocket. This time it is called the Team Galactic, and their motives are like harnessing the energy of Pokemon evolution to rule the world, blah blah blah. You've seen it all before if you've ever played a Pokemon game, and so it is your 11-year-old's job to stop this evil mobster syndicate by destroying all of their Pokemon with your over-leveled Pokemon team. Oh yeah, and you have to go get all 8 badges and defeat the Elite Four and the champion to become the ultimate Pokemon champion. So in terms of my Pokemon team, I didn't rotate too much in terms of building up my team. I kind of stuck with the Pokemon that I picked up along the way. As far as my starter goes, when I did my Pokemon Diamond playthrough, I picked Piplup, so this time I went with Turtwig, the grass turtle. And I gotta say, I actually really like my Torterra. He's kind of a beast. I like the grass ground combination. You have a lot of resistances that way, and he already has a really big defense stat. Of course, he's not gonna do as much damage as a Pokemon like Infernape, but I still really appreciated my Torterra. When you get to like the second or third town, if you have a save file of Pokemon Let's Go, then you get a free Mew, and if you have a save file of Pokemon Sword or Shield, then you get a free Jirachi. And normally I steer clear of the legendary Pokemon. One of the main reasons that I do this is because by the time you gain access to one near the end of the game, you already have your team built up, so you don't really want to replace one Pokemon that you've been leveling up this whole time in order to make room for a under-leveled legendary Pokemon. But in this case, the Mew and the Jirachi are only like level 5, so I'm like, what the heck, this time I'm gonna take a Jirachi with me, and I really like the type combination of this Psychic and Steel type. I suppose if you don't have a Sword and Shield save file on your game, and you don't want to use a legendary, you can use Bronzong, which is a Generation 4 Pokemon with that same type combination, and I used Bronzong on my first playthrough of Pokemon Diamond. I just really appreciate that combination because it's like most Psychic type Pokemon have a really low defensive stat, so it's nice to have that extra defense but still have that Psychic typing. Other Pokemon I took with me is a Mischievous that evolved into Miss Magius, which I really liked, and she seemed to level up a lot faster than the rest of my Pokemons. Because there is an XP share that all my Pokemon gain XP whenever I battle, I didn't get to use her that much because I'm just trying to keep all of my other Pokemon up to the same level as her, but she was really strong. I also had a Gastrodon, and I really like that type combination as well because it's water and ground typing, so you don't have to worry about electric type. Normally when you play a water type, that's the type that you kind of want to steer clear of. Now you do obviously have 4 times the vulnerability to grass type, but I felt like most trainers don't really use a grass type besides the occasional Rosalade. Is that the name of the Pokemon? The whatever Rosalina evolves into. I wasn't planning on this, but I picked up a Pachirisu on the way, and I actually really came to enjoy my electric squirrel. Probably the better electric rodent compared to Pikachu, although I do wish that Pachirisu had an evolution of some kind. And I'll talk about the Grand Underground in just a second, but I did pick up a Hound Doom along the way as well, which I've never used a Hound Doom before. I just thought he looked super metal, and I really appreciated the dark and fire typing, although in terms of like my whole team, he was arguably the worst, so he probably had the worst stats. Now I'd mentioned some quality of life features here in this game compared to the original DS version. One of the big ones is obviously you don't have to teach your Pokemon HM moves in order to traverse through certain sections of the world. So in previous games, if there was a tree that could be cut, one of your Pokemon needs to have a move slot of cut taken up of their 4 moves, and you cannot remove an HM move once it is taught to a Pokemon. So you kind of have to have your 6th Pokemon slot to be an HM slave is what they call it, and just have 4 of these HM traversal abilities so you can effectively traverse across this world. In this game, it just says like, oh, a wild Pokemon comes and helps you. So whenever you, once you finally do gain access to the move cut, as long as you have the appropriate badge to use it, you can just have a wild Bidoof come and cut a tree for you, which is nice, not having to worry about those HMs. They haven't really been a thing for a couple generations now, but I still remember the inconvenience of them. So I like that they didn't go way true to form from the original DS, that they were able to move away from that mechanic. On the topic of HM, I wanted to talk about strength because I find that interesting that you gain access to the move strength that you can use in battle, but you cannot use the HM traversal strength to move out the the overworld boulders until way late in the game. So it's just interesting because usually in a Pokemon game, you get the move and then you defeat the gym leader and got the gym badge to use it on the overworld. But there's just such a gap this time between actually receiving it and then being able to use it in the overworld. They give you a lot of TMs, and I thought they were moving away from the limited TMs. In most modern games, the earliest example I can think of might have either been X and Y or Sun and Moon, but TMs are unlimited, so you can use them as many times as you want and teach your Pokemon as many of these TMs as you want. But in this game, they went back to being limited. Now, they will give you multiple of the same TM, so usually when you defeat a gym leader, he'll say like, here's this TM of this move that I was using on you during our battle, and they will give you like 5 of them, which is more than you need realistically, but still it's kind of weird that they went back to the limited TM, so you really have to think about like which Pokemon you want to give this to. Now, a couple other additions that they added in this remake compared to the original would be the one of them being the Grand Underground, and this is basically like this underground system of tunnels that you can dig to wherever you're at in the overworld. As long as you're not in a building or in a cave, you can dig down there, and it is just, this is like how they implement another multiplayer features. Other players can join your game when you are exploring these tunnels, and it is this overworld map of these tunnels that lead to these big rooms full of some Pokemon that you typically wouldn't see until later in the game. So this is where I picked up a Hound Doom, and this is actually where I picked up my Gastrodon as well. And I think I spent more time in the Grand Underground than I initially thought I would, but after a while, the novelty kind of wore off, and I just wanted to play the original game. I imagine it would be kind of fun to play with a couple of friends in real time. I'm not sure how that would work or not, if you can like do double battles with wild Pokemon, I'm not sure. There's also like a little Minesweeper minigame that you can use a pickaxe to dig up precious gems that you can trade for resources. Just an additional little thing that you can play around with. And there are also contest shows added in this game. I'm not sure what they replaced in the original game, but as far as I understand it, these contest shows are specifically new to the Pokemon Shining Pearl and Brilliant Diamond versions. I didn't mess around with this, really. I didn't really care about the contest shows, but apparently you can like feed your Pokemon these puffins to add beauty or coolness or whatever stats, and you use these moves to be all flashy and really appeal to the judges. At least that's how it was from what I remember in Pokemon Sapphire and Ruby. You can add these stickers that you unlock over time to your Pokeball, and it changes the effect of when the Pokemon comes out of the Pokeball. I had this observation when I originally played through Pokemon Diamond as well, but the encounter rate in these games seem incredibly high. So whenever you are in the tall grass or the cave, these Pokemon will pop up with these random encounters like every 4 or 5 steps, it felt like. And needless to say, I was carrying around a ton of repels with me, and I wish that the repels lasted longer, or hey, maybe make the random encounters go away and do something more similar to the Pokemon Let's Go series, where you can actually see the Pokemon in the overworld. It doesn't help that you see a lot of common Pokemon repeats. Like throughout this game, you're going to be seeing a ton of Geodudes and Gravelers and Ponytas and Machops and Machokes and Zubats, and it's like all these common Pokemon. You're just seeing a ton of. Maybe the random encounters wouldn't be so bad if I saw a wider variety of these wild Pokemon. Now, true to all Pokemon games, you are assigned a rival of some sort. At the beginning of the Pokemon series in Red and Blue, your rival is a real jerk, right? He's Gary or Blue, as they call him in the games, and he's always telling you, smell you later, and he's a real punk. But as the games progress to newer and newer Pokemon games like Sun and Moon and Sword and Shield, your rival kind of just becomes a friend, a pal. Like it's more like a friendly rivalry, like, oh, hey, let me heal up your Pokemon after we battled, or you'll battle them and they'll say, hey, here's a helpful HM for you, buddy. In this game, he's kind of more competitive with you than more recent Pokemon games, but I just think it's kind of weird that his, like, one characteristic is he's super impatient and just likes to run all over the place, and he's not watching where he's going, and he runs into people because he's so impatient and he just wants to get to his destination and achieve his objective. And like, hey, I can kind of relate to that, but that's not like my one characteristic as a human being. Now, this isn't new to this revision, but your Pokemon in your party can follow you. So you can go into your Pokemon menu and toggle it, and they'll follow right behind you. It felt like in Pokemon Diamond on the DS, the Pokemon would just follow directly right behind you, similar to something like Pokemon Yellow, where you had that Pikachu right behind you. It's like that, but the Pokemon in this revision move realistically to how they would move. So obviously, if I had like my Turtwig, he's a turtle, he's going to be moving really slow, and so he can't quite keep up with me. And so whenever your Pokemon is a far enough distance away from you, they'll flash forward and blink right up to you eventually. And so it was really distracting having a super slow Pokemon following behind me. So eventually I just had one of my faster Pokemon, like the Pachirisu, because he's a really fast moving electric squirrel. I felt like again, I'm relating this to the Pokemon Let's Go series, but I felt like they utilized this a lot better, even letting you ride some of the Pokemon that are rideable. Like if you had a Arcanine, you could just ride it in lieu of using a bicycle. Or if you had like a Snorlax out, you would just hug the Snorlax as he waddled around. I just felt like there was a lot more work put into that Let's Go series compared to this game. And the Pokemon that follow you in this game are proportionately like the same size as you as well. Unlike Let's Go, where if you have the Snorlax out, he's huge. He's like as big as the Pokemon Center. I feel like this game is really trying to have you gain a bond to your Pokemon, because the more that they like you, the better they will perform in battle, and it is constantly reminding you in battle like, oh, your Pachirisu dodged that attack because he loves you so much and he didn't want you to be disappointed. Or, oh, your Jirachi landed a critical hit because he wants to be praised by you. Or, okay, your Turtwig looked behind you and gave you a knowing look. And it's just like, okay, I don't really need like a line of text every time I need to use a move about how much my Pokemon loves me. It just makes the battle last so much longer, especially when it has like the little hearts fly up from your Pokemon because he loves you so much. And it's just like, okay, man, I get it. Just do something like Pokemon Yellow if you want to implement that, where I will talk to the Pokemon that's following me, and then you can tell me how happy you are with me, not in the middle of battle, because the battles themselves are slow enough as it is. Maybe that's just because I'm coming right off of the heels of Pokemon Legends Arceus. I will say it is kind of fun getting these new apps and features for your Pokétech. This is basically like your cell phone, and as you talk to random NPCs, they will give you just fun little apps to play around with, like, hey, here's a calculator app for your Pokétech, here's a pedometer for your Pokétech. Fun little things like that. I feel like they could have even maybe like implemented some little mini games to play on your Pokétech if they really wanted to implement it. In the original DS version, this would have been on your bottom touchscreen, but in this game you can just toggle it visibly on and off. I just kind of wish that they zhuzhed this up a little bit more, you know? I know I'm not the only one saying this, but I wanted more of like the Let's Go treatment, or even I think like even Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby did a little more to their original source material than this game. It just kind of felt like, I think I might rather have just played the DS version if I didn't have to worry about the HM moves. I did notice a couple of reoccurring items and locations from Arceus and this game. Because yeah, geographically they are the same place, just a ton of time passed in between. So you will get like the elemental plates, and there's a reference of like the red chain. And I'm not gonna go too much else into it, but yeah, it is kind of fun playing these games back to back because you do see some reoccurring things. Overall, if you do like the traditional Pokemon game, if you've been a Pokemon fan all this time and you know exactly what you're going to get yourself into, this game certainly delivers. It's still a Pokemon game. It's still got all the characters on it. You can still catch them, you can still play with them, and you get all the gym leaders, and it's just like, yeah, it's just another traditional Pokemon game. And that's sometimes a really good thing for someone, that's sometimes a really bad thing, but at the end of the day, you know if you would like this game or not. The good thing about the Nintendo Switch in terms of its Pokemon offerings is it kind of has something for everyone, where like if you wanted something fast and quick and new and modern, then yeah, go for the Pokemon Legends Arceus. If you want something really nostalgic about your old days of playing the game, maybe get like this game or Pokemon Let's Go. And I don't know, I guess if you want to take pictures of Pokemon, play new Pokemon Snap. I just think at this point in my life, I'd rather lean more into the Pokemon Legends Arceus, and I hope that the new Pokemon games that were just announced go more in that direction rather than this Pokemon Shining Pearl and Brilliant Diamond. I think I'm gonna give this game a 3 out of 5. It was still good, I still enjoyed it, but that's probably just because it's a Pokemon game and it's got all the recognizable characters, and that takes the game pretty far in my opinion. But in terms of like the gameplay, I don't know if I like this very much anymore. At least I think I need a longer break from a more traditional Pokemon game. Well guys, that's it for me. Let me know if you have any questions or comments about Pokemon Shining Pearl or Brilliant Diamond or the Pokemon series in general. There sure is a lot of topics to cover there, but I'd love to hear what you have to say. Otherwise, I'll talk to you later. Bye!